Have you ever observed certain individuals who just seem to effortlessly glide through life, achieving remarkable success? Like every opportunity simply falls into their lap?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then you see others, right? People who put in incredible effort, so much dedication.
And they just keep hitting brick walls. They seem stuck in this cycle of struggle. It's a common puzzle, isn't it? Often really frustrating to see.
It really is. And you wonder, what's the difference? What's the secret sauce there?
Well, what if the secret isn't just about what they're doing, the strategies and the actions? What if it's something much more fundamental, like who they are actually being?
That's a really profound question. And I think it cuts right to the heart of, well, genuine personal transformation. Our
Hmm.
usual thinking, our conventional wisdom, it always pushes us towards action, right? External stuff, strategies, the doing.
Right. Focus on the how to.
Exactly. But this concept we're going to dive into today,
Yeah.
it suggests that the internal state, the identity you're actually embodying, that's the real catalyst, the most potent one for change and success.
Precisely. So today we're embarking on a deep dive into two really interconnected and frankly fascinating concepts of identity shifting and what's often called the law of becoming.
Yeah, okay.
And there's this growing belief, that this isn't just some self-help theory. It might actually be a kind of hidden law that, well, governs how our universe works.
The hidden law. Wow.
Yeah, potentially unlocking not just like immense potential for achieving stuff externally, but also helping you find a life that feels deeply aligned with who you really are, your authentic self.
That sounds incredibly powerful. So
Yeah.
where are we drawing this from today?
Good question. Our main material for this deep dive comes from this exceptionally insightful YouTube video by a guy named Quasi Johir.
Ah, okay. I've heard of his work.
Yeah, he's apparently spent years just immersed in studying reality creation, manifestation teachings,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. And he brings this unique blend of deep insights, his own personal stories, and what he boils down into three core principles.
Three core principles. Okay.
And he claims these principles haven't just transformed his own life, but they've apparently impacted over 12,200 of his clients.
12,000. Wow. That's a number that definitely makes you sit up and pay attention.
It really does, doesn't it? Makes you want to pull up a chair and listen very carefully. So our mission today is basically to unpack these three principles thoroughly.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll dissect exactly how they propose. We can shift into that version of ourselves, the one that seems to achieve goals with, well, a sense of ease, almost like the universe is kind of conspiring for you, not against you.
Ease instead of struggle. I like the sound of that.
And maybe most importantly, we'll try to explore the underlying philosophy that ties all these powerful ideas together. So get ready, because this deep dive, I think it's packed with insights that could genuinely reshape your whole perspective on success, on growth, and really on what's truly possible for you.
Sounds good. I'm ready. Where do we start?
Okay, let's begin with principle number one. He calls it, become who you were meant to be. The power of surrender.
Right, surrender. This first principle, like you said, it's foundational. It introduces us to what Quasi Johir terms the law of becoming.
The law of becoming, okay.
At its core, this law suggests that everything in this universe is in a constant process of becoming and being. It's dynamic. It's an unending flow.
So not like reaching some fixed endpoint and just stopping.
Exactly. It's not about reaching some ultimate potential and then, stagnating. It's more like continuous perpetual evolution. Think of a river, maybe. It never stops flowing. It's always carving new paths, always changing its form slightly.
I like that analogy. An ever-unfolding journey, a dynamic state of flux. He uses a great illustration for this too, doesn't he? The metamorphosis of an egg.
Ah, yes, the butterfly. That's a perfect example.
Right. It doesn't just become a caterpillar and that's it. It evolves into the caterpillar, which then, instinctively spins a chrysalis.
And from that chrysalis, this completely new being, the butterfly, emerges.
But the cycle doesn't even stop there, right? The butterfly then lays more eggs and the whole thing starts over.
And even beyond that single life cycle, when the butterfly eventually dies, its atoms, its very substance, gets reabsorbed, recycled into other forms within the ecosystem.
So that constant process of becoming and being just carries on indefinitely. Nothing's ever truly lost, just transformed.
Precisely. And this isn't just some, fascinating biology lesson for us to marvel at.
Right, it's relevant to us.
It carries profound direct relevance to your experience listening right now. The core idea here is that your current reality, everything you're experiencing, the challenges, the opportunities, they're shaped not primarily by what you're doing,
Your actions, your strategies.
but by who you are being,
Yeah.
the identity that you are embodying right here, right now.
Wow. Okay, that fundamentally shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from just external actions and onto the internal state, the core of your being.
It really does. And this is where I think the puzzle pieces start to click together. Quasi suggests that many of the most successful people throughout history,
Uh-huh. Like who?
well, think corporate elites, world-class athletes, iconic celebrities.
Hmm.
Many of them have, maybe unknowingly or certainly without shouting about it, they've leveraged this exact knowledge.
So it's like they've been playing with a kind of hidden rule book that the rest of us didn't get?
That's sort of the implication, yeah.
Yeah.
Consider Beyoncé, for instance.
Yeah.
She's talked openly about struggling for years with, like, really debilitating performance anxiety, a serious lack of self-confidence, despite her obvious, immense talent.
Right, she had these very real internal blocks holding her back.
Totally. But then it was only when she consciously, intentionally stepped into a new identity, Sasha Fierce, that something truly transformative happened.
Sasha Fierce, I remember that.
By embodying Sasha Fierce, this persona of, fearlessness, unbridled power, her music career didn't just get a bit better, it absolutely skyrocketed.
And it wasn't just like adopting a stage name, was it? It felt deeper.
That's the point. It was a complete internal reinvention that seemed to just unleash her potential.
And it's not just her, right? There are other examples. Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely. Kobe Bryant, one of the basketball greats. His adoption of the Black Mamba identity coincided directly with this undeniable surge in his career, this almost mythical presence on the court.
The Black Mamba.
Yeah. He explicitly used that persona to cultivate an identity of, like, ruthless aggression, relentless focus, just unparalleled mental toughness. It totally transformed his approach.
And for many people, that is Kobe Bryant, right? That identity became synonymous with his greatness.
Exactly. So when you start looking for it, this underlying theme of identity shifting, of becoming someone slightly different to achieve something new, it seems to be a common thread among so many people who get exceptional results.
Okay, but here's something that often trips people up, and Quasi highlights this, right? This idea that your current self is somehow broken.
Yes, that's a critical misconception, he points out. The common belief that your current self is defective.
Right, and so people feel they need to sort of pretend to be someone else, like fake the confidence, fake the intelligence, mimic traits they think they lack.
And according to Quasi Joe here, that whole mindset creates this profound internal conflict. You're operating from a place of perceived lack, of inadequacy.
And that internal conflict, that's absolutely central to why people get stuck, isn't it?
It has to be.
Because if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I need this mask, I gotta fake it, you're basically generating this deep sense of internal unease, dissonance.
Yeah, it's like trying to force yourself into a costume that just doesn't fit who you really are.
You might fool some people outside, maybe, but internally, you know it's not authentic. And that awareness, it just creates massive resistance in your energy. You're literally working against yourself.
Which leads perfectly into a really crucial, practical application of this law of becoming. Learning how to tell the difference between your true goals and what Quasi calls foreign goals.
Foreign goals. Okay,
Yeah.
what are those exactly?
These are the goals that often come from outside pressures, right? Societal expectations, family conditioning, maybe just desires you've picked up externally rather than things that genuinely bubble up from your authentic self.
Okay. So how do you tell the difference?
The guidance here is to really develop a heightened awareness of your inner feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Use them as your primary barometer.
So pay attention to your gut reaction.
Pretty much. When you envision a goal, he says, really tune in to your physical and emotional response. Do you feel like a knot in your stomach? A tightness in your chest, maybe just a subtle but persistent feeling of dread or obligation. That, he explains, is likely your subconscious waving a little red flag, signaling that it's probably a foreign goal, something misaligned with who you're truly meant to be. It's your inner wisdom trying to nudge you away.
Okay, and what about the flip side? How do you know when it's a true goal?
Well, conversely, if you envision something,
Yeah.
and it immediately sparks feelings of happiness, joy, a sense of lightness, or this feeling of expansive possibility,
Yeah.
that's your authentic self, giving you the green light, confirming that it's a true path for you.
So it's really about feeling into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he encourages envisioning a longer-term future, not just what you want to do or experience or have, but crucially, who you want to be in that future.
The being part again.
Right. Your emotional response to that whole picture, that holistic vision, that acts as your purest internal guide, feeling into the desired identity itself.
Okay, that makes sense. And this deeper understanding, it then leads to a kind of radical reframing of hard work, doesn't it?
It really does. Quasi-Joe here openly says he dislikes the term hard work.
Why is that? We're always told hard work is the key.
Well, his point is that the very phrase implies battling against something, a
Right.
sense of grinding, struggle, and ultimately a lack of freedom. It suggests this necessary suffering, that maybe it's entirely unnecessary if you're actually aligned with your authentic path.
Interesting. So if it feels like pulling teeth, maybe it's the wrong goal.
That's kind of the implications, a powerful perspective shift. He tells this wonderful story about Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently asked Jordan how his son could become a truly great basketball player.
Huh.
And Jordan's advice wasn't about, endless drills or counting hours in the gym or specific tactics.
What do you say?
He just said, fall in love with the game.
Wow. Fall in love with the game.
It perfectly encapsulates the principle, right? When you are genuinely obsessed with something, when you deeply love the process, you literally stop counting the hours. The effort doesn't feel like work because you're completely immersed. You're energized by it.
So the takeaway is, if a goal consistently feels like hard work, like this constant uphill struggle,
It might very well be a false idea, as he puts it, a path that just doesn't truly resonate with who you are meant to become.
this is really shifting my perspective on goals and effort, which then smoothly leads into another big realization Quasi talks about, the whole interplay of fate versus free will.
Ah, yes, the big question, fate or free will?
He uses this great visual analogy, doesn't he? The two concentric circles.
That's right. The smaller inner circle represents inner intent. That's like your personal will, your often limited, or as he calls them, petty intentions based on your current, maybe narrow understanding.
Okay, our little plans.
Yeah, and then the larger, all-encompassing outer circle, that's outer intention. He equates that with fate, or what he terms godly intention, the bigger picture.
And the common mistake is thinking it's one or the other, right? Either fate controls everything, or our free will lets us do anything.
Exactly, that either thinking. But he clarifies quite strongly that it's unequivocally both.
Both. How does that work?
He argues, whatever you want, God wants for you and more, which is why surrendering your personal will, that small inner circle, to the larger outer intention, well, it can be incredibly challenging for our ego.
Oh, for sure. We like to be in control.
But he says it's absolutely vital. It's key to unlocking this immense, almost unimaginable potential that lies way beyond our individual blueprints. It's like releasing into a greater, maybe wiser plan.
And he gives a really powerful personal example of this surrender in action from his own life.
He does. He talks about quitting his corporate job, which he apparently hated.
Right, a miserable job. And he decided to start making YouTube videos, but with no clear plan for making money, right? No solid business model initially.
None at all, apparently. At that time, his highest goal, what he thought was his ambitious ceiling, was to make about $250,000 a year. So $20K a month, roughly. And just have the freedom to work from his laptop.
Okay, a decent goal, but maybe limited compared to what happened next.
Exactly. Because then something shifted inside him. He consciously decided to surrender that petty intention, as he calls it.
He just let go of the specific outcome.
He chose to just trust the process.
Yeah.
Even though he had no clear roadmap for how he'd monetize the videos, or even if he'd end up coaching people, he just trusted.
What happened?
Well, what unfolded wasn't just impressive. He says it went far beyond his wildest dreams. His income, starting literally from zero, rapidly grew to $100,000 a month.
A month. Wow.
And then quickly surged to over $1 million a year.
Sure.
This wasn't something he'd meticulously planned or even initially conceived as possible for himself.
And he puts this exponential growth down entirely to that act of surrender, letting go of his limited personal goal and allowing that outer intention, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to provide something much bigger.
That's exactly his claim, allowing the universe to operate beyond his own constrained vision.
And he stresses something important about how he handled things during that time, right? When things didn't go perfectly.
Yes, that's crucial. How he reacted when little things didn't go his way. Instead of fighting obstacles, asking, why didn't this work out like I planned? Or getting frustrated.
Which is what most of us do.
Right. He consciously chose to trust that a higher power or a greater intelligence had something even better in store. He recognized his own mind's limitations and embraced the idea that there might be a grander plan unfolding that he just couldn't see yet.
So consistent non-resistance,
Yeah.
actively practicing surrender, even with the small stuff.
Exactly. That paved the way for unforeseen opportunities and that incredible growth. It
Yeah.
really is about letting go of that tight, controlling grip we tend to have.
This approach, releasing the need to control every outcome, it ties into something else he learned, right? An epiphany listening to Joe Rogan.
Ah, yeah, the Joe Rogan insight. That was apparently a big moment for him. Rogan, even after landing that massive multi-million-dollar Spotify deal,
Yeah.
explicitly said he has no vision for where his podcast is headed.
No vision for a deal that size? That sounds crazy.
Just remarkably counterintuitive, isn't it? And profound.
So how did Quasi interpret that? What was the takeaway?
For Quasi, Rogan's philosophy became this powerful embodiment of pure being over constant doing.
Pure being overdoing.
Rogan focuses daily on just being a better podcaster, being a better father, being a better worker out, or being a better athlete. He takes life one day at a time.
So the focus isn't on the next big milestone or the revenue target or planning the next format change.
Not primarily, it seems. It's entirely about embodying the ideal self right now, being fully present and trusting that the doing part will naturally flow from that state of being.
Wow. That's a profound shift. So having a big vision is okay, but don't get rigidly attached to it.
That seems to be the critical distinction. Attachment creates tension, resistance. The real focus becomes embodying that ideal self now, in the present moment, and actually enjoying the journey, the game of life as it unfolds.
So feeling the emotions now that you think you'll feel when you get the thing, like the mansion or the freedom.
Exactly, cultivating those feelings in this moment.
Yeah.
And that mindset lets you gracefully unattach from what he calls the doing paradigm.
The doing paradigm. What's that exactly?
It's that common mindset where people feel this constant pressure to always be doing techniques, hustling nonstop, rigidly following steps A, B, and C for things to happen.
Right, the checklist approach to success.
Yeah. But as he argues, when you're fully immersed in being, embodying your desired identity, and you genuinely trust life's flow, things start to work out almost effortlessly.
Effortlessly. How?
Opportunities, the right connections, the perfect people, they're just attracted to you, almost magnetically. Because you're operating from this place of deep internal alignment, not frantic external effort.
Okay, that sounds great in theory, but does he have an example?
He does. A fantastic personal story involving a trip to see Alex Hormozi, the entrepreneur.
Oh, Hormozi.
Quasi invested $50,000 to go to Vegas and spend a day with Hormozi and his team. A big investment.
Wow, 50 grand. Okay.
And for almost a full week, he completely detached from his business, fully surrendered to just being present on the trip, absorbing the experience.
Okay, so he wasn't checking emails, managing his team.
Totally skipped away.
Yeah.
And the result, he gets back to work the following Monday and discovers his business had its best week ever, a record-breaking week. They pulled in $70,000 in just 7 days.
70,000 after taking a week off and spending 50K. That seems backward.
Doesn't it? It defies traditional business logic.
Sure.
His own manager apparently observed the shift and directly attributed this unprecedented success to Quasi's surrender and him operating in pure being while he was away.
That is a seriously powerful anecdote. It really hammers home the point.
It really does.
So the key takeaway for Principle 1, become who you were meant to be. The power of surrender. It's really about consciously working to unite your petty lower inner intention
Your small ego desires.
with the big outer intention,
Hmm?
God's intention, the universal flow, whatever resonates. It's about using your free will to actively surrender the ego's need for control.
Stop insisting on how everything has to unfold.
Exactly. And instead, trust that what's truly meant for you will manifest. And often, like in his story, it shows up beyond your wildest dreams in ways you couldn't have even cooked up yourself.
It's an ongoing process, though, right? This letting go and trusting.
Oh, definitely. A continuous, active practice. So, okay, if surrender is key, the natural next question is, what stops us? What gets in the way of aligning with that higher intention and becoming who we're meant to be?
Great question, and that leads us directly into what Quasi calls principle number 2. Suffocate the pendulum, overcoming external influences.
Suffocate the pendulum. Okay, that's a very vivid image.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's a concept that truly grabbed my attention because it feels so practical.
So what exactly are these pendulums?
He defines them as these metaphorical, collective, like-minded forces that swing at a particular frequency. And here's the critical part. They actively suck your energy.
Suck your energy, like energetic vampires.
Kind of. Think of them as group thought forms or energetic constructs created by collective thinking that thrive by drawing individual energy into their momentum.
Okay, can you give some examples?
He gives a whole range. Things like groupthink, The intense collective energy around sports teams, the powerful currents you feel in religion or politics, even shared experiences like sickness campaigns like during COVID.
Wow, so pretty much everything.
Essentially, he claims everything is a pendulum. It's any collective energy field that seeks to continually draw on your individual energy to sustain its swing, often without you even realizing it's happening.
Okay, so how do they do that? How do they hijack your mind, as he puts it?
He describes it really clearly. If you ever had this experience where things are going pretty well, everything's smooth sailing,
Mm-hmm.
and then seemingly out of nowhere, someone throws a spanner in the works, or just some minor irritating thing
Oh,
happens.
yeah, all the time.
And instead of just dealing with it and moving on, suddenly your energy gets completely absorbed by it. Your mind gets hijacked, locked into this negative feedback loop, obsessing over that one small issue.
And it can last for ages, weeks, even months, just ruminating.
Exactly. Totally draining you. He says he sees this constantly in his own business. Everything could be running perfectly, but then one tiny thing goes wrong. Maybe one client isn't happy, or a negative review pops up, or a tech funnel breaks.
Right, the small imperfections.
And this insistence on perfection, this human tendency to want everything flawless, it gives the pendulum the perfect opening. It latches on, hijacks his energy, and leads to this completely disproportionate amount of worry and emotional drain over something minor.
That makes so much sense. We focus on the one thing that's wrong. What about the frequency of these pendulums? What kind of energy do they operate on?
This is crucial. Quasi explains they mostly resonate at the lower, denser vibrations. Think anger, fear, shame, and guilt.
Okay, the heavy stuff.
Yeah, energies that are generally considered below courage on most scales of consciousness. They're constricting, disempowering. And he makes a really strong point here. Society wants to keep you at anger because it can mobilize you
Mobilize you.
and make you do things that after you do them, you're like, I don't know why the heck I did that.
Wow, that connects directly to things like mob mentality, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When people get swept up in groupthink or collective outrage online or offline, their individual consciousness gets hijacked. They act completely reactively.
Yeah, saying or doing things they'd never do when calm and thinking for themselves.
Exactly. They've been absorbed and propelled by the destructive energy of a collective pendulum.
Okay, so these pendulums are powerful and often negative. How do they specifically stop you from becoming your true self?
But a primary and really insidious way they do it is by constantly reinforcing the false belief that who you are truly and authentically is not good enough.
Ah, the not good enough trap again.
Right. They push you towards conformity, towards fitting in. They try to convince you that you must be someone other than yourself to succeed or just be accepted.
But he offers a counter to that, right? What happens when someone is authentic?
Yes, he counters it powerfully. He states that when an individual finds the courage, the conviction to just be authentic, to express their true self, well, the pendulum has no choice but to put them at the top.
Sit them at the top. How?
They essentially become a star in their own right, attracting their own loyal adherents. He even suggests that his own YouTube channel, by focusing on authenticity, has created its own constructive pendulum.
Constructive pendulum. So not all pendulums are bad.
That's a key distinction he makes. There are constructive pendulums and destructive pendulums.
Yeah. Okay, what's the difference?
Constructive ones, while they still draw on your energy, actually help deliver you towards your goals. They amplify your efforts. Think of a supportive mastermind group.
Right, where the group energy lifts everyone up.
Exactly. Destructive pendulums, on the other hand, just consume your energy and actively pull you away from your goals, usually without giving you anything positive in return.
Can you give examples of destructive ones?
He suggests things like certain types of gossip groups, maybe like single moms constantly complaining about men, or groups of men always bashing women. These patterns, while maybe offering some temporary bonding.
They don't actually help you move forward.
Right. They just perpetuate negativity and a victim mindset. They drain energy that could be used constructively.
Whereas a constructive example would be like that business mastermind, where the collective energy is focused and helps everyone achieve more.
Precisely. The shared energy is channeled productively towards shared or individual goals.
Okay, this is really useful. Now, how do we spot these pendulums in action? He mentioned something about language.
Yes. This is super tangible and practical for everyday life. Identifying the language of the pendulum. He pinpoints 3 key words to really watch out for in your own thoughts and when listening to others.
Okay, what are they?
Should, must, and have to. And you can throw in need to as well.
Should, must, have to, need to.
These words, he explains, are signals that you're operating from a place of duty, a sense of obligation, not genuine desire. And that implies resistance, a lack of real alignment.
Ah, the voices of conditioning, like, I should get a sensible job because my passion will never pay.
Exactly. Or, I have to struggle for 40 years before I can retire. Or, I must become this kind of perfect person to deserve love or success.
Those thoughts feel heavy just hearing them.
They are. According to him, they're the pendulum's sneaky attempts to block your authenticity and siphon off your energy.
But there's a way to counter this, right? Just by changing the language.
Yes, and this is where the power lies. He talks about the immediate impact of simply changing your internal phrasing, mentally reframing, I have to do this, into I genuinely want to do this.
Even if the task itself isn't your favorite thing, like doing taxes?
Even then. Or maybe reframing it as I choose to do this because I want the outcome it provides. The point is, changing the frame immediately disarms the pendulum because you remove its fuel source, that resistance energy.
So it's not about changing the action sometimes, but changing your internal feeling about the action.
Precisely. He powerfully emphasizes it doesn't matter what you do, it matters how you show up. You could make a video, for instance, from a place of grim duty, feeling like you have to.
And it'll probably feel flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could make it from genuine desire, enthusiasm, choosing to share something valuable. And the latter allows for flow, creativity, much better resonance. The energy you bring dictates the outcome.
Okay, so the core strategy to suffocate the pendulum isn't fighting it head on.
No, definitely not. He's explicit. When you fight the pendulum, you lose. Because fighting just feeds it more of that resistance energy it craves.
So what do you do?
The key is to simply refuse to play the pendulum's game. Stop giving it your resistance energy, you cut off its oxygen supply, and that suffocates its swing over you.
How? By being aware.
Yes, it requires what he calls hyper-awareness. The ability to immediately wake up the second those shoulds, musts, and haves pop into your head. Instantly recognize them.
Ah, that's a pendulum trying to hijack my thinking and drain my energy.
Just seeing it for what it is.
Exactly. Seeing it diffuses its power. He shares a client story about this, right?
Yeah.
Neil?
Ah, yes, Neil.
Huh?
He was supposed to be a doctor.
Right. Huge parental pressure, societal expectations, a massive should telling him he must follow that medical career path. Even though his heart was in coaching, he felt immense guilt.
A powerful pendulum right there.
Absolutely. But by consciously working through that guilt, choosing authenticity, and deliberately refusing to give his energy to those external shoulds and expectations, he made the leap.
He did. He successfully launched his own coaching business, something he genuinely loves and now thrives in. It was a conscious choice to starve the pendulum and feed his authentic self instead.
That's a great illustration. So the key takeaway for Principle 2, Suffocate the Pendulum, is really about living authentically and fiercely guarding your energy.
Yeah, refusing to feed those external influences, those pendulums, by spotting and reframing those draining shoulds, musts, and have-tos.
It's about being vigilant, protecting your inner state, and deliberately choosing where your energy goes, ideally towards your genuine aligned path.
Perfectly put.
Okay, so we've covered Principle 1, surrender and becoming who you're meant to be. And Principle 2, suffocating those external energy drains, the pendulums. What's the final piece?
That brings us to principle number 3. Live with all gas, no brakes, eliminating internal incongruence.
All gas, no brakes. I like the sound of that. This sounds like where the deep internal work really happens.
I think so too. It demands a pretty high level of honesty with yourself.
So what's the core idea here?
The fundamental concept is that shifting into your ideal self isn't really about adding new things, new traits, new skills, external validation.
It's not about becoming more.
No. Instead, it's a process of dropping what Quasi calls the fake self, shedding all those layers of false conditioning you've picked up over the years.
Okay, so it's subtractive, not additive.
Exactly. It's about allowing your authentic inner light, the sun, as he puts it, to just shine through naturally without all the obstructions we pile on top.
And those obstructions, they lead to hesitation.
Right. He emphasizes how much time we waste trapped in doubts and hesitations, precisely because we're actively hiding parts of ourselves we're ashamed of, or parts we think aren't acceptable.
And this hiding, this internal conflict, it shows up as that 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake thing he talks about.
Yes, that's his vivid description for it. It's an incredibly common internal conflict. You intellectually desire something, maybe it's financial freedom, a fulfilling career, deeper connections, but emotionally, often subconsciously, you remain deeply attached to your current maybe less than ideal reality.
Like wanting to leave a job you hate, but clinging to the security of the paycheck.
Exactly. Or wanting to be debt-free, but emotionally still operating from a scarcity mindset, fearing you'll never have enough.
So your head wants one thing, but your heart or your gut is pulling you back.
Precisely. This intellectual and emotional incongruency is the primary block. It prevents real movement towards your true desires.
So what's a solution? How do you fix that incongruence?
His answer is blunt. It's either full gas or full brakes.
No more half measures.
No more indecision, no more sending mixed signals out there. You either fully commit intellectually and emotionally to your desired state, or you fully accept your current one. But trying to do both simultaneously, that just keeps you stuck. You have to choose.
Choose commitment. He shares a really raw personal story about this too, doesn't he? Even after he was making good money.
He does. It's very revealing. After hitting that impressive $100,000 a month mark,
Yeah.
he admits he kind of forgot this crucial lesson for a while. He found himself getting really protective of his success,
Seductive.
driven by this underlying fear of losing it all. As if, deep down, maybe he didn't quite feel he deserved that level of abundance.
Ah, so that's the break, the fear of loss.
Exactly. He was pressing the gas, wanting the business to grow even more, but simultaneously slamming on the brakes out of fear. Gas on, brakes on.
And what was the result of that internal conflict? Stagnation.
Total stagnation. His income just plateaued. It fluctuated stubbornly between $1.1 million and $1.3 million annually for a couple of years.
Despite getting advice to change things up.
Right. His mentors kept telling him, create a new lower-ticket product. But he was really reluctant, paralyzed by the fear that it would somehow mess everything up, jeopardize the success he'd already built.
That fear can be so paralyzing. So what broke the deadlock?
He eventually reached what he calls a point of pain. He just got so frustrated with the stagnation, the employee turnover that was happening, the financial bleeding, he hit a wall.
And had a breakthrough.
Yeah, he describes it as a fuck it moment, a point where the pain of staying the same became greater than the fear of changing. He consciously decided, take the risk, be vulnerable, drop the armor of protection and control.
Drop the armor. Okay, so they launched the new product.
They did, and the result was almost immediate. The business hit record-breaking months, 150Ks, then 180K, then even $200,000 in a single month.
Wow. Just from launching that one product he was afraid of.
Apparently so. It propelled the business to $1.7 million that year, put it back on a healthy growth path. And the painful realization for him was he should have taken that risk years earlier. The fear had cost him years of growth.
That story really drives home one of the biggest lessons here, doesn't it? That 99% of the time, it's the limited mindset and perspective holding us back.
Absolutely. It's usually not a lack of strategies or tactics. His experience shows so clearly that fear and that internal incongruence, they are the real invisible blocks.
It's not about doing more external stuff. It's about fixing the internal misalignment first.
Exactly. And he backs this up with another analogy, right? From the startup world.
Oh, yeah, the founders who raised tons of money but got no traction.
Right. He observed founders who'd raised like over $180 million, but their businesses just weren't taking off. And the core issue wasn't the funding or the idea.
What was it?
It was that the partners were always clashing. They lacked fundamental congruence and synergy. The internal dynamics were off, so the external business struggled.
The internal reflects the external. He uses a sports analogy too, right? Manchester United.
Yes, the Sir Alex Ferguson example. Ferguson was legendary for taking players who individually might have been seen as just okay or mediocre even. But through his leadership, he instilled such incredible synergy, such collective alignment, that the team won championship after championship. They were this cohesive, almost unstoppable unit.
Because they work together seamlessly.
Exactly. But after Ferguson left, even with much more expensive, individually brilliant players brought in, the team struggled. Why? Because that essential collective synergy, that internal congruence, was gone.
Wow. That's a powerful illustration of how internal alignment, whether in a team or just inside your own head, really dictates external results and flow.
It really is. And the profound takeaway for you, listening, is crystal clear. The external work is just a reflection. It's just an effect of the correct internal work.
That completely flips the script, doesn't it? Stop chasing external fixes and prioritize the internal alignment first.
It really does. Which brings us to what Kwasi calls the moment of decision.
Okay, the critical choice points.
Right. When you're standing on the edge of making a really significant choice, maybe a big investment, a key business move, hiring someone crucial, or even quitting that job.
Yeah, those scary decisions.
He says two distinct parts of you inevitably show up. One part, rooted in fear, is screaming, "Retreat, play it safe."
The voice of doubt.
And the other part, your authentic inner wisdom, it knows, quietly but firmly, that this is the right, necessary step forward.
The gut feeling. He gives another really honest, personal example here, too, about investing in himself.
He does. Super vulnerable. In a single year, he made the incredibly bold decision to spend over $240,000 on personal development and business investments.
240,000. Wow. It's huge.
Massive. And he committed to this despite feeling intense fear, and during what he called a really bad Q2, a quarter where his business was genuinely struggling, high turnover, bleeding money.
So he invested big when things looked bad on the surface. That takes guts.
Absolutely. He vividly recalls waking up with anxiety, cold sweats, feeling profoundly uncertain about what would happen.
And he learned something critical from that anxiety.
Yes. A crucial insight. He realized the anxiety he felt was a direct signal that he was in protection mode. He was closed off.
Closed off.
And his realization was, you simply cannot receive if you're closed off. His mantra became, you can only receive if you're open, you're expansive, and you take risks.
Wow. So anxiety can be a sign you're closing yourself off from receiving?
That was his interpretation. And he powerfully labels doubt and hesitation as the biggest time waster, the primary insidious obstacle that stops you from experiencing and receiving everything you truly deserve and are capable of.
Doubt and hesitation, the biggest time waster. That really lands. This connects to Brené Brown's work, too, doesn't he say?
He does. He cites Brené Brown's observation about how people react when they feel uncomfortable or vulnerable. They typically do one of two things. Either they puff up,
Try to look bigger, stronger, know-it-all.
right? Or they shrink down, try to become smaller, invisible, avoid being seen or judged.
Yeah, I recognize both of those.
We all do. But the powerful advice, echoed from Brown, is don't puff up, don't shrink down, drop your armor, allow yourself to be seen as you are.
Drop the armor. Be vulnerable. Like a child, he says.
Be open, be undefended, like a child.
So the real path to exponential growth, it's about intentionally getting comfortable with feeling like you're losing sometimes, or just comfortable with discomfort, embracing uncertainty.
Exactly. Embracing uncertainty rather than desperately clinging to the illusion of certainty. Because clinging to certainty, he argues, just keeps bringing you more of the same reality you already have.
So you have to step into the unknown.
He passionately advocates for it. Actively choose to live in uncertainty. Take those bold risks. Bravely walk those uncharted terrains. Because it's only by venturing into the unknown that you find real deep growth and uncover your true selves.
It's about breaking free from the structures that keep us stuck.
Precisely. Those mind-invented structures, the structures of the ego, they're what keep us trapped. When we can genuinely let go of our limited personal intention and consciously unite it with that godly intention, the outer intention, that big intelligent flow of the universe.
That's when we truly step into becoming who we were meant to be.
That's the liberation. It's freeing yourself from your own self-imposed limits.
Okay, so wrapping up principle 3, live with all gas, no brakes. The key takeaway is really the critical importance of deep internal congruence.
Yes. Aligning what your head wants with what your heart and gut are committed to.
Consciously dropping the fake self, shedding that protective armor we all wear,
Courageously embracing uncertainty, trusting the bigger flow.
and acting from that place of all gas, no brakes, fully committed to embodying the version of yourself that is truly meant to be. Wow.
And there you have it. 3 incredibly powerful, interconnected principles from Kwasi's show here. They really offer a revolutionary framework for thinking about personal transformation.
They really do. Let's just quickly recap them. First, become who you were meant to be. The power of surrender.
Right. Remembering everything's always becoming. And our reality is shaped by who we are being, not just what we're doing. Surrendering our small plans to that bigger flow unlocks unimaginable results.
Then principle 2. Suffocate the pendulum, overcoming external influences.
Yeah, becoming hyper-aware of those collective forces and beliefs that drain our energy, often by telling us we're not good enough or trapping us in shoulds and musts. The power is refusing to feed them our energy, choosing authenticity instead.
And finally, principle 3. Live with all gas, no brakes, eliminating internal incongruence.
Getting real with ourselves. Dropping the fake self, aligning our intellect and emotions, embracing uncertainty, and moving past fear and doubt, going all in on becoming who we're destined to be.
So really, at its heart, this whole deep dive has explored this profound idea that true transformation, achieving that life beyond your wildest dreams, it stems from an internal shift, a shift in who you are being, much more than just focusing on the endless cycle of what you are doing.
It's about cultivating that inner state of complete alignment, which then naturally attracts and allows the effortless manifestation of your true desires.
Yeah, this deep dive has really peeled back some layers, suggesting that so many of our limits aren't actually external barriers at all. They're internal blocks or maybe external pressures we just unknowingly absorb.
Hmm. Which leads to a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah, something to really consider. For you, listening right now, what false conditioning, what protective armor might you be holding on to, maybe even subconsciously, something that's actively preventing your true self, your authentic power, from really shining through?
And maybe even more powerfully, what would it truly feel like, even just for a moment, to tentatively or perhaps even boldly begin to drop that armor, to
Yeah.
consciously choose to step into the vast, maybe slightly scary, but ultimately exciting uncertainty of simply becoming?